Good afternoon. The pardon board is called back to order. The time is 12:17. Our next case is Mr. Timothy Perkins. Mr. Perkins, would you please introduce yourself and give us your DOC number?
My name is Timothy Perkins, DOC number 120822.
Mr. Perkins, I'm going to read some information into the record, and then we're going to have a pardon interview with you. You do have some supporters present, I believe, on Zoom, Brandy Lessing and Michael Hood, neither of which wish to speak, but they are here on your behalf supporting you. At the end of that interview, you'll have an opportunity to make a statement to the board, and then we'll vote. You understand our procedure?
Yes, sir.
This is the matter of Timothy Perkins, DOC number 001208222. Mr. Perkins' date of birth is November the 19th of 1967. He's a first-time offender. He is serving a life sentence for the charge of second-degree murder, having been sentenced on February the 29th of 1988. Is all of that accurate, Mr. Perkins?
Yes, sir, it is.
Mr. Perkins, your case was assigned to me, so I'll begin the interview process. Mr. Perkins, how old are you, sir?
56,
And how long have you been in prison on these charges?
36 years.
And you are currently at the police barracks. How long have you been at the police barracks?
About 9 months, sir.
Where were you prior to that?
Louisiana State Penitentiary.
Mr. Perkins, you've been in prison for 36 years. You were 19 years old, I believe, when this happened. How old were you at the time this happened?
19, yes, sir.
Okay. Tell me a little bit about who Timothy Perkins was at 19 years old. Tell me about your education. How far had you gone in school at that time?
I had dropped out prior to going to penitentiary, but just before being incarcerated, I received my GED.
You did get your GED?
Yes, sir.
Were you working at the time?
Yes, sir. I was working at a landscaping company, nursery.
Okay. And where were you living and who were you living with?
I was living with my parents in Glenmore, Louisiana.
Drugs or alcohol involved in your life at that time?
Alcohol, sir.
Tell me a little bit about your alcohol use. When did you start drinking?
Being a teenager, we went out on the weekends, hanging out with fellas and friends, and we was always drinking.
And how often were you drinking?
Every weekend, sir.
As you look back on your life, you consider yourself to have been an alcoholic?
Yes, sir.
Are you currently an alcoholic today?
Yes, sir.
Tell me exactly what happened. It's my understanding that there was some bad blood between you and Mr. Will Perkins. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Tell me about that relationship and tell me what happened and how did that culminate in your killing him on March the 1st of 1987?
Me and Monty Perkins never really got along, and I'm not really sure why that would be the issue. We was always around each other on these weekends. Sometime we'd meet up, and for some reason we just rubbed each other the wrong way. We never really got along. On this particular night, me and him had gotten into an argument behind a girl and something that was supposedly stolen out of a pickup truck. We started arguing. I had been drinking. Once we started arguing, it escalated until there was a fist fight. At that time, we had some other people there at this location, and they broke the fight up, separated us. Myself and my fall partner left. I went back to my parents' home. After a few minutes, they went back to the little town that we're from. Glenmore was riding around, and we saw the victim again. And at that time, my fall partner.
Let me stop you for a second. When you went back to your parents' house, what did you do?
I went there and got the gun.
All right. What kind of guns did you get and why?
It was a shotgun.
Okay. And why did you get that shotgun?
At that time, I'm not sure, but I believe it was to kill him.
And you said you had been drinking. How long had y'all been drinking?
All that afternoon, sir.
So you got the shotgun, and then what did you do? What happened after that? Continue your story.
We went back to the little town and was riding around. And once we saw Monty, my fall partner, pull up beside him, I pulled the weapon and shot him.
Can you tell me now, after all of these years, what might have been going on in your head and why you did what you did?
No, sir. I take full responsibility for doing it, but the alcohol played a small role in it. The fact that I was young and didn't have enough sense to know better.
How about anger? Were you an angry young man?
Yes, sir. I was angry.
Were you generally angry, or were you just angry that particular night? I mean, did you have an anger issue now that you look back at it?
I believe that I had an anger issue at that time.
Do you know why? Do you know what caused your anger? I mean, I know you were mad at him this particular night, but is there anything in your life that caused you to be overly angry about life or anything else?
Nothing that I could pinpoint, sir. I just believe that I was just an angry young man.
Did you ever have any sort of treatment outside of prison for your alcoholism?
Outside of prison, no.
Did at the time, when you were 19 years old, did you consider yourself then to be an alcoholic?
At the time, no, sir. I wouldn't have thought so.
Let's talk a little bit about what you've done while you've been in prison. Tell me some of the programs that you've taken, what you consider to be some of the best programs that you've been able to take while you've been in prison, and why?
One of the best programs I've taken was anger management, Cage Your Rage. And it helped me to understand that when you're angry, you don't have to focus that anger on anyone, that you can step away from it, give you time to cool down, think about it, and to look at it with a level head. I think that's one of the best ones for me.
Now, what might you do differently today? Now, when did you take anger management?
Several years ago, sir.
Now, there was an incident in prison back in, when was that? I think it was 1992.
Yes, sir.
Where you had an incident in prison where someone took your jeans, or y'all were arguing over some jeans, and you got some scissors and stabbed 2 inmates. You remember what I'm talking about?
Yes, sir.
Tell me about that and tell me what happened at that point.
At the time, that was before I started taking anger management, before I started taking any of the programs. I had just come out of lockdown and had some stuff stolen from me. I was still angry at the time and having a hard time transitioning or coping with prison. Being young, I took my anger out on him.
No charges were ever filed against you, is that right?
Charges were dropped, sir.
Do you see the concern I have, the similarities?
Yes, sir.
Between here,
Yes, sir.
here you got mad and you shot someone earlier with alcohol, drinking and mad. And then in prison, something happens, you pull some scissors and you stab someone.
Yes, sir.
Now tell me why I shouldn't be concerned about that going forward.
You should be concerned, sir, but I'm not the same person now that I was then. It's been a lot of years since then. That would happen in 92. I've taken a lot of programs since then. I've made trustee and been working in a lot of different programs, a lot of different places. Since that time, been around a lot of individuals. I've tried to my best to look at situations through other eyes without being angry.
Tell me a little bit about substance abuse programs that you've taken. I see you've taken Living in Balance, AA, the 12 Steps, Thinking for Change. Tell me what those programs have done for you in terms of making me feel comfortable that when you get out, you're not going to go back to drinking.
Yes, sir. One of the things I would like to do is join an AA meeting if allowed to get out of penitentiary, and get a sponsor that I can talk to and stay in contact with. Thinking for a Change helped me to understand that instead of reacting off of anger, I need to step back and think about it better, look at it, and maybe even get some opinions from someone else and help me work through the situation.
Now you've taken Malachi Dad's 100 hours of pre-release, and you've got a lot of faith-based programs. Tell me a
Yes,
little
sir.
bit about faith-based programs.
I'm a very strong believer in God, and God guided me through all my situations. I do my best to, I watch a lot of religious programs here at the barracks, and I have been, and I continue. I want to join a good church and stay focused on my religion, my Savior.
You belong to Cowboys of Christ. Tell me what that is.
That is a Christian group that come in from the outside that teach us, that preach to us in Angola.
You've got several good letters of support from the institutional staff there. Tell me a little bit about your transition plan. I see Mr. Myers is on the screen. Tell me a little bit about your transition plan.
Yes, sir. I want to go to parole projects with them and let them go through their classes, let them see what they have to teach me and learn. And I have my family support. I'm going to go live with my sister once I transition from there.
And where does your sister live?
In the same area, Glenmore, Louisiana.
Okay. And what kind of work are you hoping to do when you get out?
I've had a couple of different job opportunities, and I want to pick the one that's the best for me and for my family. There in Alexander, Louisiana.
Warden, what can you tell us about Mr. Perkins?
Sir?
No, he was. He's been here with us for 9 months, and from the time that I interviewed him to today, I can't see his old supervisor from Angola without the man threatening me for taking TP from him. He's an exceptional character, an extremely hard worker. He's only been here for 9 months, and 3 months in, he went to the governor's mansion. So he's very sought after with his work performance and his skills. But his character is truly the thing that strikes me the most. Every time I ask him how he's doing, he tells me he's blessed. And he believes it, and I believe it for him. And I'm excited for the opportunity that he has to be before you guys today.
Thank you, Warden. I appreciate your comments. Mr. Perkins, I do have a question about your disciplinary record. You've had 47 write-ups. The last one was in 2018. You've got a number of contraband write-ups along the way. What was the contraband?
The last one was cigarettes, sir.
Okay, and what were some of the other contraband charges?
I've had some alcohol. That was at one point. I've had cigarettes. I've had a knife at one point when I very first got to the penitentiary. Those things, that sort of thing.
But nothing since 2018.
None, sir. None, sir.
All right. Any questions? Is there anything you'd like to say to the board before we vote?
I want to apologize for what I've done. I take full responsibility for my actions, and I think about it and feel for the victim's family every day.
Panel ready to vote? Yes. Okay. All right. Mr. Perkins,
Yes, sir.
in looking at your record, I was frankly quite concerned about what I viewed as anger issues, especially the second incident in 1992 that you had with these two inmates, very similar to what you had earlier in terms of type of conduct. Appears that you have worked hard while you've been there. Discussed your anger management. You've discussed how you would deal with that in the future. The programs that you've taken some very good programs. You've got a good handle on your sobriety. You've got a good transition plan. Although you have victim opposition, you have a low risk. You have strong opposition from law enforcement. But you've got some excellent comments from the warden. Taking all of those things into consideration, it would be my vote to recommend to the governor that he commute your sentence to 70 years. I'm 1 vote out of 4, but that's my vote today. Ms. Jackson?
Ms. Perkins, my vote is the same. I think you accomplished a lot. You were just a kid when you went into prison. Now you're a 55-year-old man, think you've grown a lot over the last 34 years, and my vote today would be to grant. You've got a good program, excellent remarks from all of your prison supervisors, as well as from the state police supervisor.
Thank you, Ms. Jackson. Mr. Roche?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Perkins, based on the positive remarks from Captain Washington, length of incarceration, a good transition plan with the Louisiana Road Project, and a completion of good rehabilitative programs, my vote is the same, to commute to 70 years.
Thank you, Mr. Roche. Mr. Freeman?
I concur with my colleagues and I also vote to commute to 70 years.
Mr. Perkins, you have 4 votes to recommend to the governor that your sentence be commuted to 70 years. We will make that recommendation to the governor. Good luck to you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, board.